Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Rock and Roll True Stories. And we've got some updated news on James Hetfield of Metallica. Lars Ulrich gave an interview to USA Today. If you guys remember the news a couple weeks ago, it was announced that Metallica was canceling their upcoming New Zealand and Australia tour, and James was going to be going back to Rehab. And that was all the information that was really given. But Ulrich gave a new interview to USA Today where he said the following: "He's doing what he needs to do, and he's in the process of healing himself," Ulrich explained. "I feel bad for everybody down in Australia and New Zealand, but we're excited to get back in full force and come back stronger and healthier than ever. And along the way, there's obviously an occasional bump in the road, but it's been an incredible ride, and we're looking forward to getting back down there, hopefully next year." The drummer also reflected on how supportive the rock and metal community has been since the band released the news, saying, "I think the biggest surprise is just how positive the feedback has been from our fans and our friends and peers alike. It's very heartwarming, and it's just blown our minds of how much love and appreciation and support we're given in the last week that we had to since postpone this." So while they didn't give a timeline for Hetfield's return, if you guys remember the news last week, Metallica announced that they were going to be headlining all 5 of Danny Wimmer's Presents festivals next year, where they're going to headline 2 nights at each festival, playing different sets each night. Speaking of the members of Metallica hitting the stage again, Kirk Hammett was recently on stage. He joined UFO on stage in LA last Saturday, October 12th, sitting with the English rockers for their performances of their classic 70s tracks Doctor Doctor and Shoot Shoot. It happened at the Hollywood stop of UFO's current Last Order's 50th anniversary tour, which serves as both the celebration of the hard rock act's longevity as well as their final UFO tour for longtime singer Phil Mogg. Now, the gig at the historic LA nightclub Avalon last week, which also saw performance by Armored Saint, was dubbed a pre-cruise party for Megadeth's rock-themed Mega Cruise 2019, which set sail the following day. So there's some footage of Kirk Hammett joining UFO on stage on YouTube, and I will be doing a true story episode on UFO pretty shortly, coming up on my channel here in a little bit. Turning now to a band I've already covered on my channel, and I'll be shooting, I've shot a couple of videos about this band that I'll be releasing at some point in the future, and that's the Black Crowes. So with rumors swirling that there's going to be a rumored 2020 reunion tour, it appears that at least one person from the original lineup won't be taking part. So drummer Steve Gorman confirmed to Ultimate Classic Rock that he hasn't been approached to take part in the Black Crowes' rumored 2020 reunion tour, saying it won't happen. He said about whether he expects to be contacted to participate. He said, "Trust me, this reunion, I've heard from many sources for several months that it's happening, and this ain't got nothing to do with trying to re-find a musical connection. This is a very different motivation, and so the last thing that the brothers Robinson are going to do is involve someone who's going to take a chunk of the pie away from them." Gorman went on to say that Chris and Rich Robinson have every right to go out on the road with new musicians and call it the Black Crowes, saying, "When I quit the band in 2001, I relinquished my right to the name. I never thought I'd be back to begin with, and I never was cut back and on that side of things as far as a third of the partnership in terms of who owns the name The Black Crowes, and that's fine." He continued by saying, "The truth is, when Chris blew the band up in 2014, the last thing I wanted was to be involved in a continuing string of emails from lawyers and accountants trying to get everybody to agree on something. It's much nicer to know that this is all in the rear view, and again, they never think about approaching me, but it's going to be a pretty tough thing to make sense of. 6 years after Chris said, 'I need all the money or I'm never going to do this again,' and then suddenly saying, 'Okay, I'm ready to do it again.' I mean, it just speaks for what's going on. They painted themselves into a corner and they need to go out as the Black Crowes, and I don't think, frankly, they give 2 flying Fs if who's in the band on stage with them. And they're going to go do whatever they have to do, and I don't begrudge anybody who can make a living playing music in their 50s on principle. It's like, good for you, but the way this will be spun and the way that everything has been spun for years, it's a pretty dubious suggestion that this has anything to do with a reunion or an anniversary." So he's pressed about whether there'd be any scenario under which he'd be willing to return to the Black Crowes, and Gorman said, "Not that I can imagine. I really have an active imagination, so I would say no. And the truth is, I have absolutely no interest in being in a room with either one of those guys, much less on stage with them for a year and a half. I worked my butt off to make sure that I was never in a position where I might thought I have to do this again." So I mean, there's that. I don't need it. So that concludes it for today's video, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, hit the like button, be sure to subscribe, and tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern for another Rock and Roll True Story. Take care.